Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. Previously, we saw Troy Ruhanen, the Global President and Chief Executive Officer of TBWA, speak about the impact of technology on the business of advertising. Staying on the same lines, John Hunt, Worldwide Creative Director of TBWA, feels that agencies and clients both are dazzled by techno-speak. Hunt, in a conversation with Storyboard editor Anant Rangaswami, spoke on how it is futile to be mesmerized by technology and one should work towards putting it to purpose. Let's hear the full conversation.
John, welcome to India.
Thank you, Anand.
Many years ago, you were a challenger brand to legacy network agencies when you were running Huntless Caris, and now the shoe's on the other foot. You're the
Indeed.
You're the network brand. So, how do you see the challengers in the world of advertising right now?
Well, I think advertising, as it has been for the last 5 years, is in a state of transition. But I don't think that changes the fundamentals. A challenger brand, the new kid on the block, is really all about challenging the status quo. And whether that's in South Africa or India, that stays the same. So I think a challenger brand is really nothing more than a brand that looks at the status quo and says, if we're going to grow, we have to change this, we have to find a better way going forward. And certainly in the early days of Huntless Caris, we delighted in being the different kid on the block. So if everyone was going left, we went right.
Zig and zag, as John put it. Yeah? So the other John, Hegarty. So no, but here if we keep reading, we're looking at new names popping up, which are attacking the largest network agencies and going after the biggest brands, including Apple, for example.
Yeah.
And earlier, your enemy was kind of visible. Now it could be a digital shop, it could be a tech shop, it could be Facebook, it could be Google, all of whom are your competition. So how do you view that development?
I think you do have this fragmentation of the market, but clients do still need a center to their brand. They do need, big clients need a global operation that understands where the brand sits. And I think more and more you'll find, hey, happy competition to have all sorts of people sniping at you, but in the end the client needs the comfort that they're sitting with an organization, not that it's bureaucratic and slow or sluggish, but that understands the organizing principle of the brand and moves forward on that. So I think the sniping will continue, but as the advertising world morphs as well, many of those new kids on the block end up being part of the bigger organizations as well.
John, you're using, shall we say, very lofty words in what you're saying. Is the marketer using these same lofty words? Is he looking at the long term at all? Yeah. Or is the marketer looking at the 2 years that he's going to be there? Is a company bothered beyond this quarter and the lights and the ticks?
Sadly, much of what you say is true. Right. Often the system has been reset, sometimes to the lifespan of the marketing director.
Sure.
And I believe a few years ago that lifespan was between 18 and 2 years. So that's
18 months,
sad.
Yeah.
But I think the worst of that mishmash is over, because it shows in clients' audits. We seem to have done a lot, but it's a lot of hot air. What's given ballast to the brand? So clients are still organizing themselves, to be quite frank. So are agencies, to try and work out the state of flux. But we're learning fast, and we have clients, for example, like Airbnb, who are structured completely differently to, say, a fast-moving packaged goods client.
Right.
And the truth is somewhere in between. Agencies have to be much more flexible. They have to understand that times have changed dramatically, and clients have to just whoa a little bit to make sure they're not doing a lot of things that ultimately end up just fragmenting their brand.
Staying with what you're saying, here in India we're seeing a boom in the business of e-commerce.
Yeah.
And all of them are like Airbnb. They want solutions now.
Yeah.
And sadly, often we're looking at terrible work. But the speed seems to be more important than the quality of work. So how do you react to that?
It's a crazy world. Right. This sort of nanosecond decision making is part of the new world. We have to find a way between speed and some arc that's a little bit longer in terms of the brand building, the values that base. Clients are so hungry for the quick solution, and sometimes that's quite appropriate on a transactional sense, but also sometimes you need to say building a brand takes a little bit longer. The work suffers when it's purely transactional and that's it. I don't think that's always the long-term solution. Having said that, clearly the days of, we can relate it to cricket. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, everything was a 5-day game. It was, you knew what was going to happen. You had 5 days to play your 2 sets of innings. Now, a lot of it is, bad analogies, T20.
Absolutely.
We have to get used to it.
And lump it.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of problem we see in India, as in, I'm not going to ask you an India-specific question, but the principle of it. Everybody seems to fall in love with technology, and technology overreaches the creative idea, and a lot of marketers fall in love with technology. You must be seeing that every day?
All the time. Right. We have a problem that both agencies and clients are sometimes dazzled by techno-speak.
Right.
They're sold a platform but not an idea. They are mesmerized by what the new systems can do.
Right.
But then it's not attached, forget sometimes even to an advertising idea, it's often not attached to a marketing idea. So you're doing a lot of stuff. It's new, it's fresh, it's in the sense of, wow, it looks as if I'm hitting more people in a new way than before. But if it's not attached to some central theme, some smart idea, often we just find the brand, the business, gets fragmented, and it's often death by 1,000 strokes, albeit at the time it's lots of action, everything needs to be aligned. Technology is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it needs to be aligned and it needs to serve a purpose, and somehow we have to join the dots as opposed to the sort of shotgun where everyone's excited about doing lots of stuff, but there's not a central idea to it.
So suppose you had a friend who was a CMO of a large brand, and he asked you to, give him a 2-minute sort of primer on what he should guard against in this complex world. How would you sort of do that?
I would say, take a deep breath. Don't be dazzled by technology for technology's sake. Having said that, of course you embrace change or you get run over it. So I'm not in any way suggesting that this is marketing a la the 1980s. But what is the purpose of the technology, and how do you measure success with it? And sometimes just having X amount of hits, or what's the difference between people whizzing past and actually engaging? And I think a lot of times we get confused between numbers, spreadsheets. Wow, we had 1.7 million hits. To what end?
Right.
Embrace technology. It's the way of the future without a doubt. Pause and reflect for a moment on how you're going to measure its success and what does it mean to the overall architecture of your marketing plan.
Sure.
Otherwise you end up with a silly building, a bit of this, a bit of that. You look at the building and you go, my God.
But the trouble is, by the time you see the building, it's built.
It's built, that's
yes,
right.
That's
that's where the poor get that foundation.
Right. Thank you, John, for talking to us, and I hope you have a fantastic trip to India, and hope to see you back soon.
Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
If you belong to a network, then awards do have a significant role to play. But as Hunt states, the purpose is to achieve clients' goals and sell his products. There are such awards that celebrate the effectiveness of campaigns in achieving clients' goals. Effies. After this short break, we get to see who won it big at Effie Awards 2015.